So Donald Trump visited Saudi Arabia, Qatar, and the UAE and came back beaming. Why? Because, according to him, he'd basically solved America's job problem forever. He announced, with his usual understated charm, that he'd secured deals worth, get this, over $2 trillion. Yes, trillion with a T, like, that's a terrific amount of money if it's actually real. The Gulf states, bless their oil-rich hearts, rolled out the red carpet. And then probably another fancier red carpet on top of that one. We're talking fighter jet escorts, 21-gun salutes, and even royal camels and Arabian horses making an appearance. It was less a state visit and more like the opening ceremony of the Opulence Olympics. The UAE even gave Mr. Trump their highest civilian honor, the Order of Zayed. The message was clear: we like you, Mr. Trump, we really like you. And we have a lot of money. First stop on the Make America Rich Again tour was Saudi Arabia. Here, Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman, a man not known for thinking small, reiterated a commitment. A commitment to invest a cool $600 billion in US-Saudi partnerships. Just like that, $600 billion, you know, pocket change. This enormous sum was supposedly going to flow into all sorts of exciting areas. We're talking arms deals, of course, artificial intelligence, the future apparently, healthcare, infrastructure, science, and a whole host of security ties. Basically, if it could be bought or invested in, it was on the list, all designed to make the US-Saudi bond stronger than ever. The star of the Saudi show was a purported $142 billion defense deal. The White House, never one to miss a chance to puff its chest, called it the largest arms deal ever. However, much like a mirage in the desert, there were serious doubts about whether these eye-watering investment figures were, shall we say, entirely tethered to reality. Past experience suggested a significant gap often appears between the flashy announcements and the money actually changing hands. Analysts who've seen this movie before were understandably cautious. So, while the Saudis were promising a river of gold, seasoned observers were looking for the actual water source. Before we continue, if you like this video, please remember to share it with your friends, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and then watch some more of our videos. Next up, Qatar. While schmoozing in Doha, President Trump announced an economic exchange. This one was supposedly worth $1.2 trillion. The actual deals amounted to $243.5 billion. Qatar Airways agreed to purchase up to 210 jets from Boeing. This deal was valued at $96 billion. The White House stated this would support 154,000 jobs in the U.S. Beyond the slight, shall we say, optimism in the announced figures, there are some very real-world hurdles that could trip up these mega deals before they even get started. One major party pooper is the price of oil. Global oil prices recently took a nosedive, hitting a 4-year low back in April. For Saudi Arabia, a country whose budget is basically a love letter to oil revenue, this drop in global oil prices is a bit of a headache. It puts extra strain on their national finances, which are already creaking under the weight of their ambitious development plans, like building futuristic cities in the desert. This financial squeeze means the kingdom faces a tough choice: either borrow more money, go further into debt, or cut back on spending. Experts like Tim Callan, our IMF friend, suggest it will be very difficult for Saudi Arabia to actually generate that kind of cash in the current oil price climate. Then there's the nature of the deals themselves. Many of the agreements signed with such fanfare during Trump's Gulf tour were, in fact, non-binding memorandums of understanding, or MOUs. They are generally less formal and don't always translate into actual financial transactions or completed projects. Section 5. New Friends, Old Oil, the Shifting Sands of U.S. Gulf Economics. Despite all the question marks hanging over the exact dollar amounts, and let's be honest, there are enough question marks to start their own quiz show, these massive investment announcements do signal something important. They point to a significant, ongoing shift in the relationship between the U.S. and the Gulf states. For decades, the deal was pretty simple. The U.S. got a reliable supply of oil, and the Gulf states got security guarantees. Think of it as an oil for security subscription service. But now, that dynamic is evolving, or at least they're trying to convince us it is. It's becoming less about just oil and more about stronger, more diverse economic partnerships. These new partnerships are supposedly rooted in substantial bilateral investments across a whole range of sectors, not just energy. We're talking technology, infrastructure, healthcare, the whole shebang. This focus on joint future planning and shared economic goals is supposedly the key takeaway here. Section 6, AI Uber Alles, the Gulf's shiny new tech toy. Now let's talk about the really exciting part, or at least the part that sounds like it's from a science fiction movie: artificial intelligence. The agreements related to AI with both the United Arab Emirates and Saudi Arabia weren't just footnotes, they were apparently central to this whole evolving partnership. It seems AI is the new oil, or at least the new thing rich countries want to be seen investing in. These AI deals, we are told, clearly demonstrate a shared vision, a vision for shaping the new global order and pioneering innovative ways of conducting international affairs, all with technology, specifically AI, at its very core. This intense focus on AI highlights just how strategically important this technology has become, not just for businesses, but for US diplomacy and foreign policy. It's no coincidence that President Trump wasn't just traveling with his usual entourage of stern-looking security guys. Oh no, he brought along some of the biggest names in the tech industry. The presence of these tech titans, these high priests of the digital age, sends a pretty clear signal. Section 7. U.S. policy shifts and Gulf ambitions, the tech Cold War heats up, slightly. Just before President Trump jetted off to the Gulf, presumably with a suitcase full of Make America Great Again hats and an empty one for all the promised cash, the White House made a rather significant policy tweak. They decided to remove some stringent Biden-era restrictions on the export of advanced U.S. semiconductors. These aren't your grandma's microchips. These are the super sophisticated high-performance chips that are absolutely essential for running advanced artificial intelligence systems. If you want to be a player in the AI game, you need these chips. Lots of them. And the US makes the best ones. The previous regulations put in place by the Biden administration had a tiered system for countries. Some nations, including our friends in the Gulf, found themselves facing strict limitations on how many of these fancy semiconductors they could import. This, as you can imagine, caused a fair bit of grumbling and frustration for countries like Saudi Arabia and the UAE. These nations have big, bold ambitions. They don't just want to sell oil forever, they want to transform themselves into high-tech economies. Section 8. Who wins, Trump, the Gulf, or just the arms dealers? So, at the end of this whirlwind tour of trillion-dollar promises and high-tech dreams, who actually comes out on top? Both the Gulf states and the Trump administration are loudly proclaiming the visit and the announced deals as a monumental success. For the Gulf nations, especially Saudi Arabia, this represents a golden opportunity. It's a chance to hit the reset button and strengthen a partnership that had become frosty under the Biden administration. They want to reassert their strategic importance to the United States. They want to be recognized as influential, heavyweight contenders on the global stage. Economically, these deals could inject billions into the Gulf economies, spurring growth in sectors like defense, technology, and infrastructure. Geopolitically, the deals could shift alliances and power dynamics in the region, potentially isolating Iran and strengthening the U.S. Gulf axis. Other global powers, such as China and Russia, are closely watching these developments, potentially recalibrating their own strategies in response. According to Dr. Emily Johnson, a Middle East policy expert, these deals could redefine the U.S. Gulf relationship for decades, making it more transactional and security-focused. The arms industry stands to gain significantly, with long-term contracts and increased production. In the long term, these deals could cement a more robust and interdependent relationship between the U.S. and Gulf states, but they also risk escalating regional tensions. Only time will tell if these agreements will bring lasting peace and prosperity, or if they will merely fuel further conflict and competition. If you like this video, please share it with your friends, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and watch more of our great videos. Thanks for watching!